Some judge transferred custody without a hearing?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. And they originally set it out for like 8 months to where I would even be seen.
It used to get me so frustrated, but
It was a tough time.
it was a tough
Very
time.
much.
Actually outrageous.
Yeah.
And then the children came back to you.
Yeah, actually in February 12th, the mother kind of, oh, I can't do this by myself. And she brought them back, and then I've had them since then the whole time. And we just did last week finalize the paperwork, so we're just waiting.
All right, let's deal with this $2,000 legal fee. Mr. Bowen, did Ms. Perez give you $2,000?
Yes, ma'am, she did.
Okay, tell me the circumstances surrounding her giving you $2,000.
Okay, so in June, one of the mothers of my children wanted to take the custody of the kids back.
Not both children, one.
Well, this was one, and then I have another kid. They got involved, and she did an ex parte order using the exact same paperwork, word for word. Everything was the same. Pretty much copy and pasted one to the other.
You're going into too much information for me. I like this all linear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, June 2022.
We were looking for an attorney. She actually was going to give me $7,000 for an attorney that her mother had used, but I was like, that's way too much, so let's try to find something cheaper, and that's where we found somebody.
Well, this is a we. This is not.
Well,
this is
me and
really
her.
your problem.
Right.
This is really your problem. I want to know how she got involved with giving you money.
I'll give you the money, no problem. Here, do you want $7,000 for this lawyer in Bakersfield that my mother used, who I know is a rock star? And I said, no, let's find something else, a little bit localer. And I found the one in Lancaster for $3,500.
And did you go to the attorney in Lancaster?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you go with her or alone?
I went by myself.
Did you ask her if she wanted to go with you?
No.
Okay, so you went by yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you went to the lawyer, you got a fee, you were quoted a fee?
Yes, $3,500.
When you were at the office, that would be in June.
Yes.
And when you got that quote and you liked that lawyer,
Yes.
then I assume you went home to where Ms. Perez was taking care of your children.
Yes, ma'am.
Which she was doing, by the way.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
You weren't paying her anything.
No, not at all.
And she was still paying for her own house, where she maintained another resident.
Yes. She was there because her children went to another state for the summer. So she just stayed with me while the kids were gone for summer. And then
She stayed with you for a reason. She didn't stay with you. I assume you don't live at a lake.
No.
No. Well, you don't live at the beach, right?
I wish, but no.
No, but you don't live at the beach. So now you've got a lawyer's quote for $3,500. You go home to Ms. Perez and you say, dear, I like this lawyer. He only charges $3,500. Is that something like the conversation?
Something like that, yes.
Something like that. Now I want to hear where the $2,000 came from.
Matthew's eyes widen. Caption coming up.
I want you to think and focus. Look at me, and that requires I owed her for lamb chops she bought. I owed her for a plumber she paid for. Or I owed her for a...
Lawyer fee.
Perfect!
Judy grins. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Stephanie and Matthew.
Stephanie Perez claims her ex-boyfriend, Matthew Bowen, owes for an unpaid loan. Matthew is countersuing for lost wages and slander.
Now I want to hear where the $2,000 came from.
I had...
No. I said, dear, I like this lawyer. He's only $3,500.
She says, here's $2,000 and I have $1,500, and we made it happen.
Okay, here's $2,000.
Yep, yes.
And you said, I have $1,500.
Correct.
Well, you must have said, I have $1,500 first.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
You must have said his fee is $3,500. I have $1,500, because otherwise she wouldn't have known to say, here's $2,000.
Correct,
Right?
yes, Your Honor.
So let's try to get it right.
Yes, Your Honor.
You went home and you said, dear.
I have $1,500, the lawyer's $2,000.
And
we need to make it happen. I need to make it happen.
were those your words? I need to make it happen? No. I want you to think about it. Don't pull information out of an orifice. Just, if you don't remember, say, I don't remember exactly what I said.
Then I don't remember exactly what was said.
Okay, you don't remember.
Correct.
Do you remember exactly how it happened? Voila. Love it. Okie dokie. Go.
He needed $3,500, and I would only give him $2,000 because I didn't have any more.
I want to hear the conversation.
Okay, he said it was $35,000. I said that I could.
No, he came home from the lawyer.
He came home.
And you must have said what happened or I want to
He
hear the
actually had
conversation.
talked to them on the phone and they quoted him that price.
Okay.
He needed the money to go over there. So.
Oh, that's a different story. You
Yes.
see, she remembers. Perfect. So he spoke to the lawyer on the phone.
Yes.
Tell me.
He said that it was $3,500. All I was able to help with, I was off work at the time, so I used my savings. I said I could help him
I
with.
know that you gave him the $2,000. I want to hear how it came about.
I told him that I would need help when my bills came due, that I would help him with the money, but I was not working, that he would have to help me with my bills, and he agreed to that, so I wired the money bank to bank.
To the lawyer's bank or to his
No,
bank?
to Mr. Bowen's account, because we have the same
And
bank.
what was said exactly was, you'll have to help me out with my bills when they come.
Yes,
And?
he agreed to that.
Okay.
I wired the money, he went, he took care of everything, and then my bills started to become due. He said he didn't have
Like what
any money.
bills? Like what bills?
My mortgage, my electric, my gas.
Okay, and you were still living together?
I was still staying in there, yes,
Yes. In what month? July?
till the end of June,
Well, when did this transaction take place?
June 6th.
So just a couple of weeks later.
Yes.
Well, where did you expect him to get you $2,000 from?
He was supposed to, as he got.
Well, right now you don't have a contract for him. It wasn't a loan. Right now what I'm hearing, which is why I asked for the exact terminology, is saying to him, you'll have to help me out with my bills when they come in, is not a loan.
I also have a bunch of text messages asking and him saying right now, I know I owe you money.
Then I'd like to see
Yes.
those.
Stephanie flips through documents.
These machines can either be a curse or a godsend.
Kevin brings documents to Judy, who reviews them.
Okay, yeah, it doesn't change my position that there has to be a clear contract if there's a loan. I'm borrowing this money, I will pay you back this amount of money, and according to what you told me, he acknowledges, yeah, I'll give you some money when I have it. That's as vague as, you have to help me out with my bills when they start to come in. And he says, sure, I'll help you out. Okay, now I'm going to come to you, Mr. Bowen.
Yes, ma'am.
It seems from reading these text messages that you acknowledge that you owe her money.
Yes, ma'am.
You acknowledge that in these text messages
Okay.
because you don't say, I don't owe you anything. You say, I have a big bill coming in. You know, I'm sorry. I'll try to get some to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you acknowledge that you owe her money.
Yeah, I guess yes, Your Honor.
Yes, well, that's what this says. It's not specific, but you acknowledge you owe her money. What do you owe her money for?
Well, I guess.
Not a well. Not a well. A well is not an answer.
All right.
What did you owe her money for? Don't look at the sky. I want you to think and focus. Look at me. And that requires, I owed her for lamb chops she bought. I owed her for a plumber she paid for. Or I owed her for a...
Lawyer fee.
Perfect. Perfect. And the lawyer fee was how much?
$2,000.
Perfect. And how much of that $2,000 did you give her back?
I've maybe given her $100.
Just a second. Did he give you any money back?
Yes, ma'am.
Because it does indicate that he did, in fact, give you some money back.
Yes.
How much did he give you back?
About what he says, $100.
Okay, so you still owe her $1,900. There you go. How great. So even though you didn't have a perfect contract?
I know for the future.
Right. Now we have a counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
And the counterclaim is that you were very annoyed with him, which is very ridiculous, Ms. Perez. I understand from reading your papers, and I'm trying to read between the lines, and, you know, you develop a certain amount of wisdom when you get older. He had you at the house for 2 months. Your kids were away for the summer. He has these 2 little kids, right? And he was using you as a babysitter.
Yes.
And you felt used.
I know. I got very attached to him.
To whom?
To
the
the
children or him?
The kids.
So according to your answer and your counterclaim, Mr. Bowen, you were involved in an altercation at work.
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you work?
I worked at Love's.
What is that?
It's a truck stop, and it just services pretty much the big rigs on the road.
Okay. And an incident occurred while you were working.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the date of the incident? Because I'm going to see the video.
September 18th.
Of,
2022.
tell me what happened.
I'm a cashier, and, you know, after doing it for so long, just so you pick things up, you see people coming in and you know they're up to no good. I have my eyes on this one character, and sure enough, he grabs like a $400 party speaker and a bunch of other little electronic stuffs, and he's walking out the store, and I'm trying to get my coworkers' attention who were sitting there talking like, hey, stop him, stop him, stop him, he's stealing. And then nobody like pays attention, and he walks outside, and that's kind of where it started. Is I said, hey, give that stuff back, and I swatted the speaker out of his hand, and that's when he came at me and he attacked me, and I was defending myself. He had a knife, like once you go and you'll see it, like he had like an 8-inch knife.
Caption coming up.
Now, what I need is from you proof that she sent that video, and I need proof that the reason you were fired from your job was because of that video. Because me, I would give you a gold star and make you Employee of the Month.
Matthew smiles. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Stephanie and Matthew.
Stephanie Perez has accused her ex-boyfriend, Matthew Bowen, of refusing to pay back a loan. Matthew is countersuing, claiming Stephanie got him fired after sharing a fight video with his job.
Okay, so you were working and trying to prevent a thief from leaving the area with property that you were responsible for.
Correct.
Okay, well, that sounds perfectly reasonable unless you're living in some ridiculous community that says, oh, you got to let everybody steal. And we don't stop shoplifters because, you know, that's not the American way. Okay, so you were protecting property that was your responsibility because you work at the store.
Correct.
How long had you been working at the store?
I worked at the store up until I got let go for 1.5 years.
Okay, now I'm going to see the video.
Okay. And just for context, like it starts after I swatted the big old box out of his hand.
Is this the video that you allege that the plaintiff sent to your employer
Yes, ma'am.
and
Both
to
of
the
you.
mother of your children?
2 of them, yes, ma'am.
To 2 of the mothers of
Yes.
your children in order to assist them in their
In their ex
custody
parte
case.
orders, yes.
in their ex parte application.
Yes.
I have evidence on that too, that
I
he
wanna
asked
tell you
the
something.
baby mom to lie in court today, and that's why she wouldn't come.
I have to tell you something.
Okay.
I don't understand why you would get involved in that anyway.
I didn't.
Okay, so you never sent this video.
He sent me the video,
Just
but I did not send it to corporate.
You didn't send it to anybody is my
No.
question. You didn't send it to...
He sent it to tons of people.
I'm asking you whether you ever sent it to his place of business.
No.
Did you ever send it to either of the people who were the mother of his children?
No, I only know one of them.
And you didn't send it?
No.
Okay, so I'll look at the video, then you'll tell me what proof you have that she sent it. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, take a look.
Footage of Matthew shoving a man to the ground. The man rises, flails his arms, then lunges at Matthew, who wrestles him to the ground, then punches him. The man rises, then leaves. Matthew turns to the camera.
What?
Was that you?
My adrenaline was pumping, Your Honor. I apologize.
What were you yelling at?
At the camera, just at the camera, yeah.
Why were you yelling at the camera?
I turned around and seen it. I didn't even know the guy was recording it.
Which guy?
There's a random trucker. It's a random trucker.
Who was recording it for what reason? I don't know. You don't know.
I don't know.
Well, how did you get the recording?
He sent it to one of the guys that used to work there as well, and then I got it from him.
You sent it to one of the guys that used to work
Yeah,
at the
that's
truck
on the
stop.
video. I'm not going to say his name, but he's in the video right there.
Okay, so one of your coworkers.
Yes, ma'am.
And this guy who was there, the thief,
Yes.
was clearly high on something.
Yes. And then, like, if you
Okay.
back it up, you can.
Okay.
There's a smidgen where you see the
I
knife.
get the picture. Please, I get the picture. Now, what I need is from you proof that she sent that video for whatever reason to your employer, and I need proof that the reason you were fired from your job was because of that video. Because me, I would give you a gold star and make you Employee of the Month. I would, if I owned the truck stop. So you understand what you have to prove to me?
Yes.
That she sent the video to your employer, and your employer fired you because of the video.
Okay, so my proof on both, my witness was supposed to be here.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah,
I was
right.
supposed to be 5'8", but I had a short arm.
Right, I understand that. But the witness that came with me, she bailed just like on everything else, so I don't have any proof of it. It was
So just
her-
a sec. So the answer is you don't have any proof
Correct.
of that. Okay, well, that's easy. And what proof do you have that she sent that clip of a video or gave it to one of the mothers of your children
Yes.
in order to assist them
Yeah.
in their custody dispute, which is not illegal, but would be nasty?
I don't.
So you don't?
Don't yet. No.
Well, your counterclaim then is dismissed. You understand that?
Yeah.
And you owe her $1,900.
Okay.
Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Matthew, then Stephanie.
It was a gift while we were together, but as soon as we broke up, it was, oh, now I need my money.
I've asked him for my money and he refused to give me it.
If you got the right person to make the team, it's good. But if you don't, and it's not a solid connection, it's not worth it.
I'm a single mom. I don't have money just to hand out like that.
Documents, get proof of everything. That's all I can say.
Sarah and Judy.
So it's a new phenomenon, this sort of phones first approach to everything.
Oh, you
To
mean
phones
cell phones?
eat first, phones watch the fight first, phones catch everything first. I think how the defendant put it, a random trucker just saw a fight break out, and first instinct is just get your phone out and take a video. And we've seen it in New York City on the subways. We see too many times people taking video and no one is helping do anything. So I felt bad for the defendant. As you said, you would have given him a gold star for what he did if you owned the truck stop. Opinions
Instead of-
differ on that.
Sarah, I'm still confused. If the owner of a business says, I don't want you to confront thieves because I don't want you to put your life at risk,
Yes.
and that's the reason. But if they're saying, I don't want you to confront thieves because I'm afraid that they're going to be picketing outside my stores because we confronted a thief and stopped a thief, that's a whole different thing. And I'm still not able to follow that mindset. I read something this week that in a very famous, huge chain, 2 employees followed the rules. They did not try to stop the thief who was walking out with hundreds of dollars worth of merchandise, but called the police. And the police stopped them, got them, and the 2 employees were fired. I used to say, when I worked in family court, that the first time a kid gets arrested, there has to be a consequence. You don't imprison a kid for 5 years if they've stolen a bicycle. But there has to be some consequence, just as you do with your own children. You tell them to come in at 10, they come in at 11:30, there has to be a consequence. If you don't, they think as parents, you're full of baloney and there are no rules. Well, that's what's happening here when you think it's okay to go into a store and steal with impunity. I don't understand that. I feel as if I'm living in some alternative universe. Okay, got it out of my system. Thank you.
Of course.
Title: Judy Justice.
Are you having a family dispute? Go to Judy Justice.
You loaned him money. He didn't pay you back.
We were sending money back and forth to each other.
Then you kept dating him and giving him more money.
I was vulnerable.
I would say we both were vulnerable.
And you're also, you know, a little bit of a con guy.
This is Judy Justice, suing her ex-boyfriend, Isaiah Quinones, for an unpaid loan and unauthorized credit card charges.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy enters.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge.
Hello, Kevin.
Case number 3001, Dooley versus Quinones.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Julie, what kind of work do you do?
I do personal training and anestheticians.
And how long have you been doing that?
I just started personal training this May, and I've been doing lashes since 2018.
You've been doing what?
Lashes?
Lashes.
Esthetician, yeah,
How long have you been doing that?
since 2018.
Okay. Mr. Quinones was a short-term boyfriend.
We were never together. We were dating.
You were dating.
Dating.
Sufficiently that he asked you for, according to you, some money for an investment that he wanted to make. According to you, he asked you for a loan, and that loan was for $10,000.
Correct.
In what month and year did he ask you for this loan?
August 2021.
And how long had you known him in August of 2021?
About a month.
You know that doesn't sound terribly intelligent to me, and you look like a very intelligent
It wasn't very
person. Okay, so you knew him for a month. He asked you for $10,000, and he told you it was for a business that he was thinking about going into, and that business was buying and then reselling cars.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, and according to you, you gave him the $10,000, and he was supposed to pay you back. He never did. Now he's not your boyfriend anymore. You want the money back. Where did you get the money from to give him?
I just saved it.
You have proof of that?
Yeah.
Rebecca hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Miss Julie, I'm not invested in your story so far. You understand that?
Yes.
Because if he asked you for an investment in August of 2021, that's what you said.
Yes.
And he asked you, according to you and according to his answer, $10,000, right?
Well,
According to you, according to his answer, she sent me $10,000, and he acknowledges that. He acknowledges that you sent him $10,000. You know who doesn't acknowledge that? Moi. I do not acknowledge that. Now, in August of 2021, you sent him $3,605. Do you know that I don't believe that that was $10,000 for a bunch of cars and investment? Then you didn't send him money again, according to this. You sent him $200 the end of October. Then you sent him another $200. Then you sent him $100. Then you sent him $2,500, and it says in that for car. Not the other. It says in that one for car. That was, oh my God, it looks like it was sometime in October, although I don't have dates on this one. Now, if you're going to try to convince me that this was a $10,000 loan that you made to him, you're going to have to show me contemporaneously with this August 2021 some communication with him. Okay?
okay.
Rebecca hands another document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
This is August 11th. Where's my moolah? Would that be you?
I sent that.
August of what year?
21.
August 11th of 2021, you say, where's my money? What are you talking about?
The $5,000 that he promised for the car. When he sold the car, he was going to give me $15,000 back.
You hadn't given him that money in August of 2021.
I did. It just doesn't say the dates.
No, this doesn't say anything about $10,000, madam.
They're broken up. That's why.
I understand it's broken up, but it's broken up in October.
No, that's on top of the 10,000.
What? Well, just show me the 10,000.
Well, it's broken up, so I highlighted it.
You have $2,500, but it's listed under October dates. I don't understand this 3605. What was $3,605 for, Mr. Quinones? Do you remember?
I don't remember that number. No, Your Honor. I don't remember what it was used for.
She sent you other monies over a period of time, $200, $100, $200. What was that for?
Those smaller amounts, Your Honor, those were probably just when we were dating and we were sending money back and forth to each other.
Well, show me that you were sending her money.
No, he was just always asking for money.
Well, why were you giving it to him?
Because I felt bad because he was broke and he said he couldn't buy his daughter Christmas presents.
So what?
In October.
I'm a giver.
Well, then what are you coming to court for?
To get my loan back that he said he was going to pay me back.
Really? He said he was
The
gonna
little
pay you
amounts
back.
are
He
nothing.
said
That's nothing to me.
Oh, I
100%.
understand that.
Yeah.
You understand that. That I am actually getting you. However, you loaned him money, according to you, in August of 2021. He didn't pay you back. You asked him for money because you said he sold a car, right? And he never sent it to you, right?
Yes.
And after that, you sent him more money
Yeah.
and kept sending him money for months. So each time you sent him more money, he never made one payment on this alleged loan.
Because he's a narcissist and he love bombed me.
He what?
Loved bomb me.
What is that?
It's a term that narcissists do and they pretend that they're somebody else, like making promises.
Well, that's an old story, but that's not a court case. If you give him money and he says, this is for this, when I sell a car, I'll give it back to you. That's great. And then he sells a car, he doesn't give you any money, and then you give him more money. And he still doesn't give you any money, and he needs more money. So you send him more money. At some point, you have to say to yourself, this is not a loan anymore. This is my own stupidity.
Rebecca fidgets. Caption coming up.
She says I keep secrets or I'm a liar. I honestly know I'm not a liar. Maybe a bad businessman, but
You're
not
a
a liar.
bad businessman, and you're also, a little bit of a con guy.
And later today,
He rented a car to come to help you. You hadn't actually met him before, and he was going to stay with you on your sofa. You felt uncomfortable about him being in the house when your children were home, so you asked him to leave. It seems to me that you both made some bad choices.
A bearded man nods. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Rebecca and Isaiah.
Rebecca Dooley claims her ex-boyfriend, Isaiah Quinones, sold multiple cars that she paid for and kept all the money.
Now, you have to say to yourself, this is not a loan anymore. This is my own stupidity, right?
Yeah, well, he was telling me that he was gonna get a check coming in the mail. He sent me like screenshots. He was on the phone with some people that owed him a check that he sent me that they were gonna give it to him.
Mr. Quinones, what were you supposed to do with this money?
I was supposed to purchase vehicles to flip them and earn money on them.
Is that what you told her?
Yes, ma'am.
I see that you have a paucity of evidence in front of you, which means very little evidence in front of you. How many cars did you buy?
I bought 2, Your Honor,
When?
in August of that year.
Okay. And how much did you pay for them?
Altogether, it was $9,500 that came out to you in total.
And how much did you sell them for?
I actually lost money on them, Your Honor. So I actually ended up getting back about $8,000.
And how much did you put in, sir, of your money into the $9,000 that you spent on the 2 cars?
Nothing into the $9,000?
Fine. So you put nothing into the 9 and you got back 8.
Yes, Your Honor.
So that 8 was her money.
Yes, Your Honor. And we
So that 8,000 was her money. Your investment was losing, but so far you're ahead of the game $8,000,
Yes, Your Honor.
right?
Yes.
So far you got $8,000 in your pocket. You put in zippity doodah.
Yes, ma'am.
And keep going.
The next time around,
What do you mean the next time around?
so I told her I was going to purchase more vehicles,
Yeah, and
and I actually put some of my own money in at that time as well. So I put back in another $2,000
just
myself.
a second. And how much did you spend for those cars?
It came out to $10,000 altogether.
10,000 altogether.
Altogether.
Okay. And of that 10,000, 8,000 was hers.
Yes.
And what'd you do with those cars?
I sold those vehicles, Your Honor.
And how much did you sell them for?
Altogether, both cars came out to about $7,500. So I lost money
So
on
you're a lousy businessman, sir.
I was at selling
You're
cars,
a very,
yes.
you were a miserable businessman at first, and you were,
Liar.
according to you, your track record is consistently miserable.
Yes, Your Honor. That's why I got out of that and stopped
Okay.
selling cars.
Okay, let's say I believe you. Is that what you told her? You ended up losing money on both things?
Yes,
Because
Your
that's what you said.
Yes,
You
Your
said it was an investment, not a loan, but we didn't make money,
Yes, Your Honor.
right? But so far, if I take your figures, you had $8,000 of her money.
Yes, Your Honor.
You put in $2,000 of your own money and then bought cars for $10,000, sold those cars for $7,500. So best case scenario, if you take back your $2,000 investment, you still have $5,000 of her money.
Yes, Your Honor. And this was never an issue because, like Rebecca said, we were supposedly just dating, but it was an actual relationship we were in. And we actually started getting closer. I had a job on the side as well, but during that time, I was on family leave because I ended up having kidney stones. So I was in the hospital a lot. And I was letting her know, like, hey, I'm trying, but it's not working right now. And I ended up losing money on our investments.
You lost money, but you ended up with money in your pocket.
Yes,
Do
Your
you
Honor.
understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If she got back all the money she put in as an investment and you were out $2,000, and I don't believe you actually put in $2,000. You have any proof that you put in $2,000?
I don't have that bank account anymore, Your Honor. And
You don't have that bank account. I don't have that cell phone that got erased.
She says I keep secrets or I'm a liar. I honestly know I'm not a liar. Maybe a bad businessman, but
You're
not
a
a liar.
bad businessman, and you're also, a little bit of a con guy. You're also a little bit of a con guy, because if you have a girlfriend and you say, listen, I want to do something for an investment, and you try it out and it doesn't work out and you have losses, and so far, you don't have any losses. She has losses.
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Miss Dooley, you know what that sounds like to me? It sounds as if you made an investment, not a loan. And you were hoping for 2 things. You were hoping you could keep him, although I don't know why. You were hoping you could keep him, but you were also going to make money. But then he didn't sell the cars for what he said he was going to sell the cars for. You kept giving him money. Now, you can't, even if it was an investment, you can't keep her money.
Yes,
If you lost money on the cars, did he ultimately tell you he lost money on the
No,
cars?
he said that he sold the cars.
Did he tell you for how much?
No, he just said the car's already sold. So
And?
that's why I was waiting for my money. That's why I said, where's my money?
Yeah, but then you kept dating him and giving him more money.
Yeah.
Okay. If I believe you, bought the cars, sold the cars, you lost money, but you still ended up with cash in your pocket.
Yes, Your Honor.
How much?
It was about $7,500.
That's what it was, according to the math.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff, $7,500. Even if it was an investment, she's entitled to it if you lost money. She's entitled to her money back.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're a smart lady. You're a business person. You work hard, you know.
I know. The love bombing. I was vulnerable.
I would say we both were vulnerable.
Yeah, but you were vulnerable. You got richer.
I understand that, Your Honor. I understand where you're coming from, what you're saying. But that money, at the end of the day, we were together. I found out she was actually married at the time or had her husband at the time. She ended up leaving her husband for me.
And?
We ended up not together. The money thing wasn't an issue the whole time we were together. The money thing wasn't an issue.
I understand, but you said to me, sir.
No, yes,
Mr.
Your Honor, I
Quinones, you
understand.
said to me in your answer that this was a business investment. She says it was a loan. I don't believe that. I don't buy it. And ordinarily, I would just say goodbye, your case is dismissed. But I think she did give you money, and I think you did use it to buy cars. I think you actually were together. But you ended up making a profit. She had the loss. And that's unfair in a business relationship, if that's what you say it was. $7,500. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Isaiah, then Rebecca.
I understand where the judge is coming from and saying that I owe her that money.
Yeah, I just ended up falling for it because I was in a vulnerable state.
I didn't agree with me being a con man.
The truth is he's a liar, and he's a narcissist, and he's a scammer and con artist.
For the 7-8 months we were together, there was no issues. And it wasn't until we broke up that all of a sudden there's an issue.
So I got mixed up with the wrong person.
Sarah and Judy.
I've been here a while now, and we've seen this scenario over and over. I don't think I've seen a single successful investment loan from a woman to a man where it worked out positively for
we don't see those here, right.
for the woman.
As she said, and we were talking back here, you were trying to explain to me the term
Love bombing.
Love bombing. Do it one more time.
From what I understand, I'm not an expert on the matter, but it's when your partner shows you affection or gifts or trips.
You mean a new partner?
No, a very new partner. And there's some psychological explanation as to why it has the other person completely off guard and fully trusting of that person who's doing that. And then they slowly start to retract that love and affection, leaving the other person sort of...
With a lighter bank account.
Yes.
Well, that's what she said happened to her.
Case number 3007, Lacey versus Mayo. All parties, please step forward.
Courtney Lacey is suing her former friend, Marcus Mayo, for business products, lost wages, and harassment.
Right, Miss Lacey, there's a whole story here that really doesn't necessarily impact on the bare bones facts of this case. The bare bones facts are you met the defendant on TikTok.
Correct.
And you were in the beard business. That is, you made products for men, for their beard.
Yes, ma'am.
I assume that jar that's there for show and tell is one of them.
Courtney nods. Caption coming up.
You threw her product away. There were other things that you could have done with it. You sure you threw it away?
I did.
You did. Why? You couldn't use it? You didn't like it for your beard?
It meant nothing to me after that. I was just looking at it, made me mad.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Courtney and Marcus.
Courtney Lacey claims her former friend, Marcus Mayo, threw away her beard products without permission. Marcus is countersuing for rental car charges and lost work.
Now, the defendant traveled to where you live from what state to what state?
Connecticut to Ohio.
In order to help you at a fair to sell your product.
Yes, ma'am.
When? What month and year?
My event date was April 1st of 2023, and he did come in
Okay,
2 days.
so around April of 2023 is when you went to the fair, and there was a fair. I don't know whether you sold products or not, but you went with her.
Yes, ma'am.
Was there a business arrangement? Were you supposed to get any financial remuneration, or were you just meeting this person in the flesh that you had met on TikTok?
Nothing was talked about. We just showed up and winged it.
Okay. And then whatever happened, you were leaving and going back to Connecticut.
Yeah.
And when you left, you took some product with you.
I was given the product.
But you took some with you.
Yes.
I didn't say you stole it. You took some product in your car,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. Yes.
Tell me what you took in your car.
It was a couple of cases, I believe what she said was 78 jars of a product.
78 jars of her product. How many had you sold at the fair?
I sold about 3 at the vendor's event.
You sold 3.
Yes.
I also donated $40.
I don't care. 78 jars is what you took home. Okay. And what is the retail cost of these 78 jars?
$25 a jar.
And what is your cost? You're in business to make that jar. What is the jar and the product? How much does it cost?
With everything put together, it cost me roughly around $6, $7. Just depends on what scent I'm using.
So say it costs you $6 a jar. That would be $468. Okay, you're suing him for $3,600, so that's ridiculous. So he took this product, and at some point, you wanted it back.
Yes.
So when did you tell him you wanted it back?
When I seen that he was bashing me on social media once he left, I wasn't aware that he felt some type of way. I asked
Just
him,
tell me what date it was that you wanted it back.
it would have been April 3rd.
And did he tell you that he would send it back if you paid for it?
He did several times.
He did several times say, I'll send it back if you send me.
Yes.
And did you?
He said that he was going to go to the UPS store and overnight it. I told him I did not have overnight money. Then he told me he was going to throw my product away, that he wasn't going to mess with it.
And that was in April. What'd you do with the product, Mr. Mayo?
I held on to
No,
it.
it's April. That's not a long time ago. How long did you hold on to it?
I held on to it for a week. The following Monday, I heard nothing from her. She blocked me on everything. I said I'd give her 2 days to give me a call, let me know what's going on.
Do you have that in messages?
Every message between us that whole morning is right here.
Marcus hands documents to Kevin.
By the way, what were you going to do with these 78 jars?
She wanted me to sell them for her and give her the money. I was under the understanding that I was going to.
Did you say to him, throw it away, I'll report it as stolen property?
After the numerous threats
Just a
of him
second.
telling me,
Did you say that to him?
yes.
Okay, so sounds that to me, and I've read the papers, and the text messages between you seem to support the idea that he came for a few days, you rented a car.
I rented the Tesla.
How much was the Tesla to rent?
Rented me about $1,400. I have the actual.
Okay, no, I'm not entertaining your counterclaim, sir. Your counterclaim's nonsense. But he rented a car to come to help you. You hadn't actually met him before.
Right.
And when he came, your children was someplace else for the event, for the weekend, or you thought for a few days, and he was going to stay with you on your sofa. That's what you said.
Only for the event.
Well, he wouldn't have driven, I don't know how many states away and rented a car to come for one day. That sounds ridiculous. And you actually acknowledge that you weren't expecting your children to come home, but your children were coming home, and you felt uncomfortable about him being in the house when your children were home, so you asked him to leave. That you acknowledge.
Right.
Okay. And so he left. I don't know whether he left during the course of an argument, but somehow he took these jars of product worth $460, and he didn't take them without your permission. He took them with your permission.
Right. We had an agreement.
That was?
That he was going to take some back. He had some barber friends and friends that was interested in buying.
Right.
And he asked if he could have a box of each scent.
Okay. And he took 78 boxes back, which are worth $468. That's your cost.
That's the price it cost for me to
Yeah,
take
he's
it,
not
but
paying you. He's not paying you for what you retail it for. You had a disagreement. He offered to send it back if you paid for it. He held on to it for a week. Should he have held on to it longer? I don't know. That is a sort of subjective thing. I can't say you should hold on to it for a month. You should have sent it to her COD if she didn't want to pick it up. She didn't have to pick it up, but I don't know where you send things COD anymore. I don't think that they do that anymore. Anyway, your whole loss is maybe $400 in product and jar.
But he took the jars to sell them for me to his friends. I offered
don't
him
care.
permission. And
I
he
don't
didn't want
care.
it.
Seems to me that you both made some bad choices. It wasn't explained to him, and I don't know what he was thinking, nor do I want to know what he was thinking. You know, to drive for a day and a half, to come to your house, not knowing who you are. He went to the event. He was helpful at the event, and then you told him that you had to leave, go to a hotel. That's what you said.
We didn't talk about the plans after the event. That's where
Well,
the
then you should have.
miscommunication came.
Actually, you should have.
Right, and I took accountability for that.
$468. You threw her product away. There were other things that you could have done with it. You sure you threw it away?
I did.
You did. Why? You couldn't use it? You didn't like it for your beard?
It meant nothing to me after that. I was just looking at it made me mad.
Okay, good. $468. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Marcus, then Rebecca.
I held on to it for as long as I could. I tried to be reasonable for as long as I could.
The beard whip is my passion, and to know that somebody can just take it and throw it away.
And it got to a point where she was unreasonable, so I discarded the
He
product.
took my jars, and he said, well, I have friends back at home that's willing to buy because they want to try it in their in barbershops.
He clearly was not going to pay to have it mailed back.
He was just a friend I met on TikTok that I thought was my friend, but obviously he had other intentions.
Sarah and Judy.
Immediate red flag all women should look out for. If you don't know a guy's middle and last name, he should not be driving states, flying states, going to an airport, going on vacation. If you just met someone, if the only way that you are able to contact someone is through social media because you don't have their phone number, they should not be coming to your house.
That's true. Yeah.
So, immediate red flag.
But I don't understand him either. You know, there's another universe there.
I'm sure there had to be some underpinnings of promises or whatever from her end because he didn't seem like a stupid guy. He doesn't seem like someone that just has nothing to do.
He rented a Tesla and drove a day and a half to get there just to help her at the fair.
Exactly.
Yeah, give me a break.
Title, Judy Justice.
Are you a victim of a scam? Go to judyjustice.tv.
You rented a room in a house that you own?
I was being harassed so much, filming me with my cameras in the house, making my life a living hell.
You don't like where you're staying? Move.
I called the police 4 times.
I'm telling you to move.
This Pasquarello is suing his former landlord, Brandon Hubbard, for destruction of property, a security deposit, and harassment.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case number 3037, Pasquarello versus Hubbard.
Oh, my goodness. Mr. Pasquarello, you all seem to have a lot of things that you brought to me, and I actually think that you're all overthinking this case. I, however, am not overthinking it. It's relatively simple. You rented a room from the defendant in a house that you own.
Yes, ma'am.
It didn't work out. They didn't like he and his girlfriend? Fiance didn't get along with you. You didn't get along with them. You had problems with each other's lifestyles. You are no longer there, and you want your security deposit back, which I, of course, will entertain. But you're asking for emotional distress, nuisance, filing a false restraining order, harassment. That's not happening. I want you to get over that. You had a tenancy that didn't work out. And if it didn't work out, and if you didn't do anything to the property, you're entitled to your security deposit back. You moved in when?
December 1st.
What do you do for a living?
I own a company.
What kind of company?
It's a janitorial company.
For how long?
Approximately 9 years.
Do you have employees?
Yes,
How many?
approximately 20.
You pay him on the books or off the books?
On.
Was this an interim room that you were renting from him, or were you planning on staying here for a long time?
It was a 6-month lease.
Is there any reason why you took a room, if you have a company for 9 years with 20 employees, that you pay on the books that you were living in a room?
Yes, I'm going through a divorce. I moved to Los Angeles 2007 and got with my wife for 15 years. We're going through a divorce, and during the pandemic, she was raised in Riverside, so I had to follow her all the way to Riverside because she has 3 of my children. I don't have any family or friends here on this side of the country. I'm from Florida. So I was by myself, and I had to rent a room by myself.
And the children stayed with their mother in the house, in your property?
Yes, we are currently going through a custody battle.
So what you're telling me is that a room was what you could afford?
That's all I could afford at the moment.
Okay.
We're still going through community property.
Okay. So you found his room.
I was moving from one house to another because they were selling their home. The housing market is very, very bad right now. It's very hard to find rent in what I can afford. So I found his, along with 2 others, and I liked his location, and I moved in under the lease agreement that he presented to me.
Okay. So he presented a lease agreement to you. You signed it. You have a copy of it.
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Your Honor, there's a couple of discrepancies with
Just a second.
Sorry.
I didn't ask you anything yet. There are no discrepancies. He rented a room from you and he signed a lease. I asked him to see the lease.
He started moving his belongings in November 13th of 22.
And?
Then he officially moved himself in on December 1st.
Okay. Why is that important?
When he moved in, he brought a refrigerator into the house that was infested with roaches.
Just a second. Do you have a copy of the lease?
Yes, I do.
I'm trying to go through it. I have so much here that...
I know, you have a lot there.
Keith flips through a stack of documents. Brandon hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Here it is. I found it, by the way.
All right, there's a very big lease with your signature on it on November 7th. Okay, so now I have the lease. You moved in on December 12th. When did you move out?
When my girlfriend got back from her trip from Spain and Italy is when I was able to move, because she was able to help me. I couldn't do it by myself. I don't remember the exact
You
date.
have the date when he moved out?
Yes. So I have a timeline here. 4/21, he moved out, and at that point,
Okay,
he still had not-
4/21.
Yep.
And what was the monthly rent, sir?
1,000.
And how much was your security?
500. If I could say, Your Honor, I'm not here because we had a little spat.
No, I know you didn't have a spat. It was a terrible 4 months.
It's a breach of a lease, Your Honor. I mean, they had 3 rules. It says it right here in his lease, 3 rules and regulations. And on the 17th, I got a new set of rules. Then I was only told I can do my laundry once a week. Then I was told that my girlfriend couldn't stay past 9 o'clock. The rules were changing as they went on, making my life a living hell.
Well, then you move. How old are you?
I'm going to be 50, and this
You're
is my
going to be
very
50.
first.
Just a second, you're going to be 50.
Yeah.
Okay. And, you know, rules are what people live by. I assume that that's one of the reasons that you're going through a divorce and you have custody, unless it was a girlfriend or a boyfriend. I don't know which one it was, and I actually don't care. What I'm telling you is, if something is terrible and you're 50 years old, you say, I'm done here. I'm leaving.
I was going to do that, Your Honor. I was looking for places to stay. The housing market is almost impossible in my...
So what is, that's not his fault. That's your fault.
It's not his fault for taking away my quiet peace and enjoyment of life? Filming me with my cameras in the house, not telling me I'm being monitored?
Let me explain something to you, sir. You're a big boy. I say this to people all the time. You don't like where you're staying, move.
I could.
Sometimes I have sympathy for somebody who is really down and out, and they say, I really can't cobble the money together to find month's rent and a month's security. I was trying to save my money. That's not in your case. You've had a business for 9 years with 20 employees who you pay on the books, and you have 3 children. So that's not your situation. What I'm telling you is, not everything is a lawsuit. And I know that you're suing him for $10,000 because he violated the peaceful enjoyment of your life. Okay? Move.
Keith bristles. Caption coming up.
So, and I don't necessarily believe it, but I actually find it amusing for a lawyer to tell you, well, stop paying rent and you'll deal with it when you come up with an unlawful detainer because you are staying without paying rent.
Sarah shakes her head. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Keith and Brandon.
Keith Pasquarello claims his former landlord, Brandon Hubbard, destroyed his property and harassed him. Brandon is countersuing for pest control fees and filing a false restraining order.
You're a grown man. You run a big business. You're not supposed to stay in a place that's terrible.
Judge, the business is in community property right now, and
I don't care. That's not his fault.
I don't own the full business. I don't get the full money.
Just, hey, I'm telling you, I asked you what you did. You said, I own a business. I have 20 employees. It's a
ours.
janitorial business, and I needed a place right away. I took his room. And what I'm telling you is, you have a car?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Where does your girlfriend live?
She lives 2 cities away.
Okay, where?
But there's another aspect of this, Your Honor. That's why there's so much evidence up here. I was being harassed so much that I didn't know what to do anymore. I was given advice by an attorney, stop paying him, and you will deal with it when you go to the unlawful detainer hearing, and we'll see if it gets solved there.
You went to an attorney? Just a second.
Yes.
You consulted with an attorney who gave you advice?
Yes.
Is this an attorney that you knew who worked for you? Or is this someone that you found that was a specialist in this field of landlord and tenant?
It's someone that was a specialist in this field.
Yeah,
Problem is, this is Riverside and this is Los Angeles. He's a Los Angeles.
I don't care. Now, lawyers don't work for free. What did he charge you?
Nothing. It was a consultation.
Charged you nothing for a consultation?
It was a 20-minute conversation.
20 minutes?
Yes.
I get a bill for 20 minutes for $750. I don't know how you got your consultation for nothing. So, and I don't necessarily believe it, but I actually find it amusing for a lawyer to tell you, well, stop paying rent and you'll deal with it when you come up with an unlawful detainer because you are staying without paying rent.
Your Honor, I filed an incident with Fair Housing. I called the police 4 times.
I'm telling you to move.
I couldn't
You're
move,
not,
Your Honor.
What are you?
I
No.
couldn't move. I couldn't
Okay,
move.
Mr. Pascarella, I can't help you, sir. You want your security deposit back? I have to see if you left a mess. If you didn't leave a mess, then you get your $500 security back. Except, I have a question. Did you pay December's rent?
Yes.
Did you pay January's rent?
Yes.
February?
Yes.
March?
He did not pay February.
Don't speak. March's rent.
I didn't pay March or April, but it was already litigated.
No. I don't care. You moved out April 21.
Yes.
Did you pay March's rent? I'm going to ask you for proof.
I don't believe I paid March's
Okay,
rent.
so you didn't pay March's rent of $1,000. So already you don't get your security deposit back.
But he was already awarded this in a previous case.
What? Previous case?
In the previous case, he was awarded in the unlawful detainer hearing. The judge granted him March and April.
Oh, so he got March and April's rent.
Yeah, he got March and he didn't receive it.
And just a second. Yeah. Did you pay him March and April's rent?
No, I haven't. Not at the moment.
Well, I'm not an appellate court. You have to go get that from someplace, sir. You have to get that from him. You have to file a judgment. You have to attach his business. You have to do what you have to do. If the judge awarded you March and April, which I would have considered. Anyway, Mr. Pascarella, I'm done with your case. I'm going to get to the counterclaim. You're not entitled to security deposit back because you didn't pay rent for 2 months. Okay, now let's get to your counterclaim. You had a hearing before a judge in an unlawful detainer?
Yes, we did.
Okay, and you testified? Speak.
Sorry.
Not we, that's either a yes or a no. Did you testify?
Yes.
Somebody say, raise your right hand and you swear to tell the
Yes.
truth? And judge asked you questions?
Yes.
And you answered questions?
Correct.
Did the same thing for him?
Yes.
And they ordered him to pay the 2 months' rent?
Yes.
And then he left?
Yes.
And he's no longer living with you as of April 21st?
Correct.
Okay. What did you tell that judge that he owed you aside from rent? Is not an answer. What did you tell the judge that he owed you other than March and April's rent?
I told the judge that he owed me for the court harassment hearings.
Now, just a second. I'd like to see where you not from a book that you have.
Sorry.
Show me where you told the judge other things that you were claiming he did, including the parking fines in the development.
So this is everything that he owes me here.
I didn't ask you for everything he owes you. That's not what I asked you. I said, what did you tell the judge in the previous hearing that he owed you?
I only asked for the back rent due.
Oh, so what are you showing me?
This was for the small claims case.
Just a second. So after you went before a housing court to get him out because he hadn't paid rent, you went to small claims court.
I was just responding to a civil case that he had filed against me.
Well, his civil case is dismissed. Okay?
That's what
He hasn't paid a judgment that he owes. May I see that, please?
Your Honor, he also asked the judge.
Just a second.
Sure.
Kevin retrieves documents from Brandon, then brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
Okay. Value of the remainder of the lease. That you're not getting.
Okay.
You happy to see him go?
Yes.
Great, he's gone. Court filing fees. I may think about that because he stopped paying rent on the advice of some idiot lawyer that he followed, this man who owns a business. Sheriff's filing fees. What fees were that for? For the unlawful
to serve
detainer?
him the eviction paperwork to post it on the door.
Crisis management fees. What is that?
That was for my advice to the lawyer.
You don't get that. A valve that went over something?
Oh, his parking ticket.
Yeah, he got a parking fine when he was living there.
Oh, well, I have that. A parking fine.
Yes.
Are you responsible for that?
Yes, I already paid it. I have
All
the
right,
receipt
can I
here.
see how much was the parking fine?
The parking fine was $50.
Okay. Did you know that you got a violation, sir, Mr. Pascarella, when you were parking?
Yes, Judge, I would love to explain that. In one of the text messages that I have, Allie, his fiance, threatened to have my car ticketed. I had been living at Canyon Lake for 3 years. I had never even came close to getting a ticket. Ironically, 2 weeks later, I get a ticket right after she threatens to have my car ticketed to the POA. Now, to my understanding, she's been in Canyon Lake for a very, very long time since she was a little girl, and she has relationships there. I
don't know that. You can't prove any of that, sir. You got a ticket.
So
you got a ticket. They have a picture. You have a car that the license plate is.
I also have a text message of her saying she's going to
Just a
get my
second.
car
I'm just
ticket.
asking you whether that's your license plate.
Yes, it is.
Caption coming up.
When the harassment wouldn't stop, I filed a restraining order.
Well, this is your filing against him.
So I did file one once he started getting aggressive.
What happened with those cases?
His was.
Don't speak from your chair. Do you hear me?
A woman nods. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Keith and Brandon.
Keith Pasquarello has accused his former landlord, Brandon Hubbard, of destroying his property and harassing him. Brandon is countersuing for breaching the lease and filing a false restraining order.
This is the filing fee for small claims court. That you're not getting.
Your Honor, I wouldn't have to have
Writ
any
of
of this money out
possession
of
is
pocket.
$40. Is that what you're talking about, the writ of possession?
Yes.
That you're entitled to because you stopped paying rent. So far, he owes you $90 for the filing fee.
And then I have another receipt for no return of the POA ID card or the POA decal for his car.
What is that?
Because we live in a gated community, you have an ID card that they give you and a decal that they put on your car so you don't get tickets. Or if you do get a ticket, they know whose house to send it to. And that was $100 each, and I have a receipt for that.
Can I see what he's showing you?
And it says his name right at the top.
Brandon hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Did you pay this bill?
I did.
Would you please, Kevin, show this to the plaintiff?
Kevin brings a receipt for $200 to Keith, who reviews it.
You know what that's for?
It's
your name on it.
It's a POA card. That card was thrown away in the trash. I mean, I don't have no use for it.
Then that's a problem. Then you owe him $200. That's $290. Anything else, sir?
I believe that the small claims fee is...
Forget it. I'm not giving you the small claims fee. Let's go. Let's go.
I lost another tenant due to Keith's behavior.
Let's go. Let's go.
And
let's move on. Move on.
He owes me $900 in lost rent from that other tenant.
No, he doesn't.
Because he's
I said let's move on.
Okay.
So far, he owes you $290.
And the court harassment filing fees. They're charging me $450 to respond to a restraining order that he put forth.
Oh, just a minute. Did you file a restraining order against him?
I sure did.
Okay. And when did you file that?
I don't remember the exact date.
Do you have the date? If you don't remember the date, do you have the date?
It was January 28th.
January 28th.
That was the day I was served with the paperwork. And
of
my,
2023.
Yes. My witness was also served with one, too.
Just a second. My question, Mr. Pasquarello. You moved out in April of 2022?
23, he moved out.
23. And when did you file this harassment case against him for an order of protection?
I don't remember the exact date.
Well, can I see the papers, please?
I believe I have them here.
When the harassment wouldn't stop, I filed a restraining order.
Okay, so March 27th. That's a response. Hold on. Let's see if I have the actual filing date.
Can I see it, please?
2023.
Brandon hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Here's the receipt for the $145 for the evictions process.
I can't hear a word you're saying, sir. I'm reading.
Okay.
Well, this is your filing against him.
So I did file one a month later, once he started getting aggressive.
Okay, so he filed one and you filed one. So you both bothered the courts.
Yes.
Both of you. What happened with those cases?
His was...
Don't speak from your chair. Do you hear me? What happened with those cases?
They were both dropped.
Mine was dismissed by the judge.
Were they both dismissed?
Yes, they were both dismissed.
That's the answer. You owe him, Mr. Pasquarello, $290. We are finished. Your claim is dismissed. Goodbye.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Keith, then Brandon.
Throwing my property away, blaming me for a roach problem they already had.
He moved a little mini fridge in that apparently was roach infested.
I was done with it months ago, many months ago, but unfortunately I couldn't move. I'm in a town where, I don't have any friends or family to help me. I just met my girlfriend, and I'm not going to bring this this luggage on her. So
He was trying to squat for free in order to save money to move somewhere else. I don't know what he was trying to do.
I'm ready to move forward, but the thing I'm disappointed about is not even the money necessarily. It's about there's no protection for tenants.
Watch out and really understand your lease before you sign it.
Judy and Sarah.
You know, Sarah, I understand that you don't completely agree with the premise that I start from.
Sure.
If you hate where you're living and you have any capability at all, you shouldn't stay there. And then if you leave and your landlord sues you for breach of the lease because you've moved out, and if you have a legitimate reason why you moved out, that you were being harassed, that your landlord was a peeping Tom, that he would come into your house at night and go through your underwear drawers, whatever it was, and we've had all of those, then you entertain that and say you hate an absolute right to break his lease. I don't get, and the example that I always give and have given for a quarter of a century is, if you go to a restaurant and you order a sirloin steak and the waiter brings it over and you cut it and you taste it, you say, oh my God, this steak is bad. And you proceed to finish the steak. And when the bill comes, you say, it was the worst steak I ever ate. I'm not paying the bill. Not in my world. In my world, if you cut into the steak and say, you know what? I'm not eating this steak that costs $42. Bring me a bowl of Cheerios for $12. That I can understand. And that's fair. But if you stay in the house and eat the steak, and there's not something that really prohibits you. I mean, if you're somebody who's challenged and you're living in a small group home, and it's not easy for you to find another facility, that's a whole different ball of wax. This is a man who says he's a CEO of a company with 20 employees. That's what he told me. And he's living in a place where he feels harassed and his girlfriend can't stay past 9 o'clock. You know, I have zero sympathy for that.
I can appreciate that. I think just the undertones, this particular situation, I may agree with you a little bit more after hearing your reasoning, but I do think it can be more challenging than you and I realize on occasion to move. I mean, that can be a big deal. And of course, he held himself out as a CEO with 20 employees in what he said was successful business. I'm thinking that that wasn't the case, and he was a little maybe too embarrassed to state that, but that was my position. So
yeah, but that's the answer.
If you have the opportunity to leave, that's what you should do. I agree with that.
And he left. And he came here with his girlfriend. Now, I don't know if they're living in the same place now, but certainly she would come to visit him. That was one of the things that he was objecting to, that you couldn't stay past 9 o'clock. Well, so you put your tushy in the car and you go to her house, which is 2 cities away. I have zero sympathy. If you ate the steak, you're supposed to pay for it.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to Judy.
ভাই আমি ডিসকর্ডে নতুন তেমন কিছু বুঝি না তো একটা নোটিফিকেশন দেখলাম তো এখানে আসলাম আইসা দেখি লাইভ করতেছেন মানে লাইভ বলতে এখানে ডিসকর্ডে